heuristic po, ang pangalawang gampang. Kapag sinabing heuristic po, at tungkol saan ang dalawang gampang? Ibang kamay? Hindi.
Okay, Addison, rinig po ba ako? Loud and clear po. Pa-react na lang po ako once naririnig po ako. Ayun.
Ano yung heuristic po? Patungkol saan? Sige, volunteer. Hindi pwedeng lang siya at takas. Isang kamay naman. Dahil natatawa. Sinabi niya heuristic po. Okay. Okay. Pero pa magbabahagi, kaibahan ng heuristic sa interaction. Diba? Wala na. Okay. Ngayon naman, ay dumaw tayo sa module. Okay, module 3. Mga anak, nakaranas ka ba kayo ng sinasabi? Siyempre, kapag magaganda ang usapan, maganda kung masaya ang pag-usapan. Plus, kapag naman ang mga hindi magaganda usapan, ito ay, nakakasakit na. Sige nga po, magbigay nga po ng bawat ng mga salita nagpapasaya o nagpapaligaya sa ating bigla. Ika, papaligaya sa damdamin natin. Ay, salamat. Salamat, tita. Okay, iba pa. Mary.
Okay, sige po, Addison, since we only have 50 minutes left na lang po, we have to start our discussions na. Since I'm speaking loud and clear at naiintindihan niyo po ako, kasi medyo nasa office po ako kasi due to the low internet connection sa 4th floor. So now, let's proceed to our discussions, which is Module 7, entitled periodic table and periodicity. So in this topic po, we're going to tackle all about periodic table, especially the elements inside the periodic table. How periodic table began, kung ano bang history nito, etc. So I highly encourage everyone to have their own periodic table while tackling this topic or module kasi mas madaling nyo maiintindihan kung ano ba ang meron sa module 7 kapag meron kayong sariling periodic table sa tabi ninyo. So in this topic po, module 7, periodic table and periodicity, we have learning objectives na we wanted to attain at the end of the lessons mismo. So unang-una, we have to explain the periodic table recurrence of similar properties among elements in periodic table in terms of electronic structure. Although, when we say electronic structure, ito ay just continuations lang nung pinaka-topic natin last module, which is yung module 6. Pag sinabi kasing electronic structure, it refers to the structure of electrons and, it refers to structure of an elements. So, sa periodic table, we have different structure na nire-represents ng isang elements or kung paano natin pinoportray yung atomic structures natin. Kalawa, relate the number of valence electrons of elements to their group numbers in periodic table. As we all know, from our previous discussions, ang elements natin in periodic table is sinahati sila with different types of groups. So, we have the groups of metals, non-metals, metalloids, halogens, noble gases, etc. And then lastly, you have to know how to compare the properties of families of a element. So, si periodic table po is sinahati not only for a group, sinahati din siya also by periods and families.
Okay.
So, for the topic outline, we have two types of topic outline. So, we have the electron configurations and the periodic table, which is we have been discussed from Module 6. In this topic po sa Module 7, ang pinaka-focus na lang natin is itong number 2. Kagaya po ng sinabi ko, si Module 6 and 7, they are just connected. Continuations lang po ni Module 6 sa Module 7. Okay, the periodic variation ni atomic properties with topics. Unang-una yung atomic radius and effective nuclear charge. Kalawa, shielding effects in many electrons, atoms. Ikatlo is the ionic radius. Ano nga ba si ionic radius? Apat, si ionization energy. Ikalima, si electron affinity. So, I think na-discuss ko na to sa inyo, but somehow, let's have some recall. Kasi ang module natin, coverage for the exam, is module 7 and 6. So, for the type of exam, we have the multiple choice, we have a matching type, and we have writings of electron configuration. So, yun lang naman yung pinaka-topic natin. So, for pre-written, hopefully maraming maka-perfect kasi marami yung mas madali yung exam natin ngayon. So, for introductions, like what we have been discussed in matters and its properties, module 1, we all know that the state of matters before Christ era, tinatawag lang natin to as part of the four elements as per Plato, wherein kinukonsider siya as earth, water, fire, and air. So, yun lang yung pinaka-classifications natin with regards to state of matters as per Plato before Christ era, or tinatawag pa natin siya as contemporary world. So, that time, apat lang yung classification, but as of the moment, ang classifications na natin with regards to our elements is solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. But before Christ era, earth, water, air, and fire lang ang classifications natin as per Plato. So, for the introduction po, the history of periodic tables is also the history of discovery of the elements. Paano ba nagsimula si periodic table? Sino ba ang nag-propose ng periodic table? Sino ba ang unang nakadiscover ng elements? So, lahat ng history natin with regards to things na meron sa mundo natin is also reflections ng periodic table. Kasi nga, yung Earth mismo is binubuo ng elements. Okay? You have different elements. Ang sabi, from Big Bang Theory, ang mundo daw ay binubuo ng helium. So, ibig sabihin, before pa mabuo ang Earth, meron ng elements na tinatawag na helium. So, ganun po. It's part of the history, yung pinaka-periodic table. But also, the discovery of elements is also a history of a periodic table. So, unang-una, we have Hennig Brand. She is a German merchant, which is the first one to discover an element. So, yung element na discover niya is by an accident. Kasi ang pakay niya talaga to discover is yung tinatawag na philosopher's stone. So, that time, pininiwalaan nila yung philosopher's stone as a mythical object that can break ordinary things into expensive ones, especially into gold. So, kapag nadikit daw into other object yung philosopher's stone, pwede niyang i-transform yung normal things into gold. But, by the accidents po, using the distilled human urine, na-discover niya yung tinatawag natin na phosphorus na elements. So, kumuha sila ng sample ng human urine, and then through that, na-discover nila yung elements na phosphorus. So the periodic table of an elements or the development of periodic table start in ancient Greek mismo. Kasi nga, state of matters natin that time classifies also into four. So we have solid, liquid, gas, and air. Wala pang classification with different elements. Wala pa tayong tinatawag na hydrogen, helium, etc. Meron lang tayo state of matters that time na sinasabi yung elements daw ay kinocompose ng earth, wind, air, and fire. I mean, earth, water, air, and fire. Now, nung dumating si Aristotle, before Christ era, nag-propose siya ng pinaka-fifth elements na tinatawag natin na ether. So, siya yung ikalimang elements na meron tayo. Now, the discovery of periodic table is also a progress according to the number of elements discovered. As of the moment, we have 118 elements in periodic table. So, now, nililib lang as blank yung mga different elements na undiscovered pa. Kasi nga, based on periodic table, ina-arrange natin siya by atomic number. For example, since 118 pa lang tayo, at ang na-discover ngayon, 118 pa lang yung na-discover na elements. If ever, makadiscover sila ng elements so pang 120, yung 119, lalaktawan nila yon. Yung paglalagay ng element na may atomic number na 120, isusunod nila yon mismo. In the upper part pa. Kumbaga, if hindi pa na-discover si 119 at ang na-discover as of the moment, kung ma-discover man, is 120, lalaktawan nila yung 19, puproceed sila into 120. So, ganun natin ina-arrange yung periodic table ngayon.
Paano mo sinasagawa ng pananaw sabi niya ako? Ay, hindi nababasa niyo naman sa
Now, again, yung unang nakadiscover ng elements is walang iba kundi si Hennig Brand, wherein na-discover niya by accident yung tinatawag natin na element na phosphorus. Sumunod noon ng 1829, dumating si Johann Wolfgang, wherein nag-propose siya ng law of triads. So, pag sinabi po kasing law of triads, it's a three elements that have the same compositions and characteristic. For example, halogen, alkalines, etc. Kailangan, pag sinabing law of triads, pareha sila ng characteristic. Now, in 1862 po, dumating si Alexander Emil Chancourtois, wherein siya naman po pinresent niya yung periodic table or kinlassify niya yung arrangement ng periodic table ng mga elements doon based on the physical and chemical properties. Okay? Si Alexander Emil po, ang ginawa niya po noong 1862, pinresent niya po yung arrangement ng periodic table or ng mga elements based on the chemical and physical properties. So, in order niya yun, kung ano ba magkakapareho ng chemical properties at ano ang pinagkakapareho ng physical properties ng mga elements. So, in-arrange niya yun by that characteristic. Now, noong 1864, dumating si Alexander Reina Newlands. So, siya naman ay nag-propose ng law of octaves. Although kasi si law of octaves also similar with law of octave rules, but somehow etong law of octaves na to, there are some controversials happen kasi nga that time kasi if you wanted to propose theories or laws in science, we have to have an experiment presenting na totoo talaga yung laws na yon. Yung experiments na yun, we have to undergo different trials, experiments, to propose na hindi lang siya basta theory. Kaya naging controversial kasi itong si Alexander Reina on his law of octaves kasi nalintulad niya into musical notes. Wherein in science kasi we have to have a scientific basis in short. In 1869, so dito na dumating si Dmitri Mendeleev, and 1870 si Lothar Meyer. As of the moment, ang father of modern periodic table natin is walang iba kundi si Dmitri Ivanovich Mendeleev, kasi po siya yung kauna-unahang nag-publish ng periodic table na naka-arrange based on the atomic weight. Although si Lothar Meyer po kasi, si Julius Lothar Meyer tsaka si Dmitri, they have the same findings po. Ang rules kasi, 'di ba, kung sino ang unang mag-publish, siya yung kailangan makikredit. Hindi naman pwedeng ako ang unang nag-publish tapos iba yung na-credit. So there are something fishes with that. That's why kung mapapansin din natin, almost 1 year lang ang pagitan, kung di man 1 year, siguro a months lang ang pagitan between them. Kaya, parehas naman sila ng findings. Ang pinagkaiba lang is, mas nauna lang nag-publish si Dmitri. Now, in 1913s po, dumating na si Henry Gwain Jeffrey Moseley, wherein na-discover niya yung isotope of the elements natin. So, kaya natin kunin yung number of isotopes ng isang elements, especially kapag nag-undergo tayo ng half-lives. In-arrange niya din yung pinaka-periodic table natin into increasingly atomic number. Kaya mapapansin natin, in modern periodic table, hindi na sila naka-arrange based on the atomic weight. Naka-arrange sila based on the atomic number. And if ever, ngayon, we have 118 elements in periodic table. If ever makadiscover man yung mga present scientists natin ngayon, like elements 121, tapos hindi pa nila na-discover yung 119 tsaka 20, ang gagawin ng mga scientists natin ngayon is lalaktawan nila or bibigyan nila ng space yung element for 119 and 120. Now, periodic table is an arrangement of the elements on the basis of their atomic numbers. And then, ina-arrange din natin siya based on the number of series, period, tsaka groups. So, lahat po na naka-horizontal lane, kinoconsider natin sila as the same period or series. Lahat naman po nung naka-vertical, so sila naman po ay kinaklasify natin based on the groups and families they are belong. So, lahat po ng naka-vertical, ibig sabihin nakapatayo. So, kaya kung mapapansin natin sa periodic table, para mas mabilis siyang i-distinguish, ang ginawa is kinolor coding sila. So, lahat ng magkakaparehas ang kulay, like red. So, may sa legends, meron namang classifications yun. Depende sa kulay ng periodic table na meron kayo. Pero yun nga po, lahat po na naka-vertical line, they have the same families. For example, halogens. So, mula F hanggang US. And then, noble gases mula HE hanggang UUO. So, kinoconsider as noble gases groups. So, again po, lahat po nung naka-vertical, kinoconsider natin sila with the same group. Now, to easily distinguish the same series and period, titingnan naman natin yung mga naka-horizontal lane. So, baka nakapahiga. So, yun po ang classification nila. Well, dito kay lanthanides at kay actinides, actually continuations lang yan neto. They are also considered pa rin as alkaline earth metals, but somehow, sila kasi yung pinaka mataas yung atomic number, kaya sineparate sila. Now, let's proceed to periodic variations in atomic properties. So, periodic properties means the property of an atom changes as you move from one row or column. So, we have atomic radius. Si atomic radius, kinukuha natin siya, same lang din sa pagkuha ng radius ng isang elements. Tawag dito, si atomic radius or atomic size, nagre-range lang siya or nagbabarage siya based on the number of atomic elements. I mean, number of atoms ng isang elements. For example, yung 118 elements natin, syempre, sila yung may mas malaki na atomic radius. Kasi po, the more na tumataas yung principal energy level natin, the more naman na lumalaki yung atomic radius natin or dumadagdag yung pinaka-orbital ring natin. So, pag sinabi kasi principal energy, yung tumutukoy tayo sa pagitan ng bawat pagitan ng rings, bawat sa given na bawat layo ng pinaka electrons natin sa nucleus. So, for example, ito yung pinaka nucleus natin. Si nucleus po is binubuo ng protons and neutrons. So, we only have one ring here. So, pwede natin siya is i-denote as N1 or principal energy number 1. So, if ever may another ring pa, we have to denote it by N2. So, principal energy number 2. So, mula principal energy number 2 hanggang nucleus, we can measure the atomic radius ng isang element. Now, next, let's proceed po with nuclear charge po. Now, si nuclear charge po, nagre-repair siya with regards to protons inside the nucleus. Actually, ang pinaka-purpose ni nuclear charge is to attract electrons para hindi sila ma-deform. Okay? Parang Earth lang din. Diba si Earth mismo is may tinatawag tayo na core, wherein we have the inner core and the outer core na merong magnetic field. Kaya kumbaga, we stabilize or we have been intact inside the Earth. Hindi tayo lumulutang. Ganun din sa loob ni atoms. Okay? Meron sila tinatawag na nuclear charge. And yung nuclear charge na yun, nagbe-bearing lang siya with the positive charge. Sila yung nag-a-attract papuntang center para hindi ma-deform yung pinaka-ring. Sir, ano pong mangyayari? Paano naman po yung mga electrons kung ina-attract siya toward itself or papunta sa center? Bakit po na-maintain pa rin yung ring? Doon papasok yung pinaka-shielding effects natin. Now, to easily get the nuclear charge of an elements, so we have to follow this formula lang. ZEP equals to Z minus S. Where meaning po, pag sinabi pong ZEP is the effective nuclear charge and Z is the number of protons, wherein if you wanted to get the number of protons in certain elements, you have to look into atomic number mismo ng isang elements. So, for example, si hydrogen, we have one atomic number. Ibig sabihin, isa lang yung pinaka number of protons ni hydrogen. Si S naman po is the number of electrons between the nucleus and also have been written in any questions or situations. Kapag merong scenario na you have to get the nuclear charge, minsan in-indicate na doon. Pero if you wanted to get the S, we have to look the number of electrons between nucleus and electrons. So, paano po ba yun, sir? Diba may mga charge tayo? So, ibig sabihin, kapag negative yung charge, ibig sabihin po, mas lamang si negative or sa electrons rather than positive. Pag lamang si positive, or positive yung charge, ibig sabihin, lamang si positive rather than electron. So, ibig sabihin po, yung sign na yon, yung pinaka-charge na yun lang po ang i-minus natin into Z natin or into number of protons. So let's have some example. Calculate the effective nuclear charge of a sodium. So ang formula natin is ZEP equals to Z minus S. Again, pag sinabi mong C is the number of proton. So why we are looking into number of protons ng sodium, so Na, so ang number of protons niyan is 11. Kasi nga, ang atomic number ni sodium is 11. And as per the situation stated, where 11 is the number of protons, 2 is the number of electrons between the nucleus. So now, ang gagawin natin is ima-minus lang natin yung 11 sa 2. So we're going to have positive 9 nuclear charge or effective nuclear charge. So ang sign natin is positive kasi nga si effective nuclear charge is referring for positive atoms lang. I mean subatomic particles. Now, si shielding effects naman po, nagbe-bear lang to or nangyayari to, nangyayari to inside the atom po, wherein ang ginagawa po ng shielding effects is pinipigilan niyang ma-attract yung electrons from the outer layer or outer lane papunta kay nucleus. Okay? Yun lang yung purpose ni shielding effects. Binipigilan ni shielding effects na mapunta yung electrons from outer po lane into center. Paano po yun nangyayari, sir? So, balikan natin yung Coulomb's law. As per the Coulomb's law, kapag opposite charge ang pagsasamahin, ang nangyayari po is nag-a-attract. Pero kapag different charge ang pagsasamahin natin, ang nangyayari po is nagre-repel. So now, as we can see here, yung first lane natin is contained by negative charge or electrons, while yung outer layer natin is composed of negative charge or electrons. Now, since in Coulomb's law, pag sinabing parehas daw yung charge, ang mangyayari po is nagre-repel. Etong si first lane natin, itong electrons natin na under ng first lane natin, pinupush away niya yung electrons natin sa outer shell para hindi mapunta sa pinaka-center. While si center naman po, para hindi mapagilang mawala siya sa pinaka-shell, ina-attract niya po. Kumbaga, nagiging balance yung pinaka positioning nilang dalawa. Okay? Nagiging stabilize sila sa lane 9. Kasi nga, merong isang taga-hila, merong isang taga-push. So, ang tendency is mag-i-stay sila sa pwesto kung saan nandun sila. So, shielding effects is when the electrons and the nucleus of a given atom has a decrease in attraction which alter the nuclear charge. Again, nuclear charge or effective nuclear charge yung nag-a-attract sa electrons natin papunta sa center. But, para mapigilan mapunta lahat sa center, nagkakaroon ng repulsions between the lane. So, ang tawag natin doon, shielding effects. It is simply defined as the inner electron shielding the valence electrons from the nucleus of an atom. Kumbaga, para hindi siya mapunta sa gitna or sa pinaka-center natin. Now, next one po is the atomic radius. So, ionic radius. Ionic radius is the size of an atom ions and it is measures between nucleus and electrons in the outermost shells natin. So, katulad lang din yun kanina. But somehow, we have to note this one. Ang cations daw is napo-form when nagli-lose tayo ng electrons. While ang anions naman po, napo-form siya kapag nag-gain tayo ng electrons. So, pakitandaan po ako nung dalawa. Pag sinabing cation, ibig sabihin po, nag-lose tayo. Kapag anion po, ibig sabihin, nag-gain tayo ng electrons. So, ionization energy is defined as the amount of energy required to remove or the most loosely bound electrons. Kumbaga, pag sinabing ionization energy, ito yung nire-required na energy para magtanggal ng isang electrons sa pinaka-bound natin or kumbaga sa pinaka-orbital link natin. Now, sa periodic table, may mga periodic table na hindi naka-indicate yung ionization energy level ng bawat elements. Pero meron din mga periodic table na naka-indicate na yung pinaka-ionization energy level ng bawat elements na nire-required para makapagtanggal tayo ng isang elements or isang electron sa bawat elements. Kasi we have different types of bonding. So, ang purpose kasi nun, kung bakit tayo nagtatanggal tsaka nagigain, is to make stabilize our elements. Yun lang naman yung pinaka-purpose nun. Kailangan mas stabilize. Kaya nga, in balancing chemicals, or chemical balancing, diba, nag-a-add tayo, minsan naman nagbabawas. Kailangan, kung ano ang atomic weight ng kabila, ganun din dapat yung atomic weight sa kabila, sa balancing elements. Kasi marapit na tayo mag-balancing elements. Now, pag sinabi naman pong electron affinity is defined as the amount of energy released when an electron is added to a neutral atom. So, dito po, kinakailangan natin ng electron affinity if we wanted to add neutral atoms. Pag sabi kasi neutral, they contain both positive and negative charge. So, ang in charge naman doon is the electron affinity. So, si affinity din po, para madali siyang ma-distinguish yung level ng affinity, same lang rin naman sila ng level, ng arrows. The more na pataas, mula dito sa gilid, papunta doon, ibig sabihin tumataas or nag-i-increase yung nire-required na electron affinity charge natin. While next one naman po is the electronegativity. So, pag sinabi natin electronegativity, electronegativity is defined as the ability of an atom to attract a bonding pair of electrons toward itself. So, kagaya ng explanation ko kanina, pag sinabi pong anions, ibig sabihin po negative charge or nag-gain tayo ng isang electrons. So, yung process ng pag-gain na yun, tinatawag natin na electronegativity, wherein we have to require enough amount of electronegativity para makapag-attract tayo ng electrons. Merong mga element na mababa yung electronegativity, kaya sila yung na-attract. While yung ibang elements naman, meron silang mataas sa electronegativity. That's why sila naman yung nag-attract ng electrons from different elements. To easily determine kung anong types of bonding minsan nag-occur yung ganito. Actually, ang ginagawa lang naman natin is kinukuha natin yung dalawang electronegativity ng elements na nasa given, tapos pinagmaminus lang natin sila. Then, based on the distance results, pwede nating mas malaman kung anong types of bonding yung nag-occur sa kanila. Sa next module natin siya madadiscuss. Now, next one naman po is yung tinatawag natin na electropositivity. So, si electropositivity naman po relies on the measurement of an element's ability to donate electrons. So, ibig sabihin, kagaya ng explanation ko kanina, from cations, si cations is na-form when we are donating electrons. So, ito naman, pag sinabing electropositivity, same halos lang din. It's a ability of an elements to donate electrons. So again, kapag magdodonate tayo ng electrons, ang purpose lang naman nun is we wanted to make it balance yung states ng elements or nung isang compound.
Alam niyo ba, per appearance sa siya at amigo.
Next one po is the metallic properties or metallic character. So, metallic property of an elements depends on how fast an atom loses its valence electrons. So, most of the metals kasi, they are considered as not balanced. Unlike with gaseous elements like noble gases, they are in state of balance na. So, most commonly, ang kinakailangan talaga ng pairing is itong mga metallic properties natin. Now, to easily determine kung gaano ba kalaki yung atomic radius ng isang elements, we have to look into number of atomic number ng isang elements. So, the more na mas madaming atomic number yung isang elements, the more na mas malaki yung radius niya. Kaya, kabaliktaran naman ng positioning ng arrows na yon. Kasi, if you wanted to get the ionization energy, required ionization energy, mula below, dito, kailangan pataas siya. Now, sa atomic radius po, mula up, pababa. Kasi nga po, ina-arrange natin si periodic table based on the number of atomic number. So, mag-start tayo sa 1 hanggang sa pataas ng pataas, hierarchy level. So, hanggang dun lang yung pinaka-discussion po natin. So, again po, Edison, please be reminded with our quiz po sa GenChem number 1. So, quiz number 1 po, and then for quiz number 2, ipopost ko po siya. Then po, sa password po ng quiz, sa mga hindi pa nakapag-take, hanggang ngayon nyo lang po siya matitig. Kasi po, mamaya po, hindi ko siya, iibahin ko na naman yung pinaka-password niya. Kasi nung nag-announce po ako kahapon, sa lahat ng STEM, 33 students lang ang nagsagot. Ibig sabihin, maghapon yun, kakaunti lang ang pumansin ng quiz sa GenChem. Kaya binago ko po yung pinaka-password ngayon. So, sa mga umattend po ngayon, you are only one, or kayo lang po ang merong dapat access with that password. So, sa mga walang balak magsagot, okay lang naman po.
Raise your hand. Pagsasalan. Okay. Sinabutan ba ito? Sige nga. Nakukuha yung quaderno o notebook sa Pilipino. Sagutan ito. Ito ang panito. Tukunin ko ang sunod na bayad. Ay halimbawa.
Okay, yung PETA po is deadline nun is October 13. So, meron kayong presentations doon, tsaka yung pinaka-actual na structure. Again po, for your performance task, ang kailangan nyo lang pong gawin, from the assigned groups of elements, you have to pick what is the most essential, what is the most pinaka-gamit na element, yung pinaka-best elements from that group. Tapos yun po ang ipepresent nyo po sa akin.
Itong darating na yes?
May PPT pa po ba na need sa presentation? Yes po, definitely po. Kailangan ko po ng PPT. For rubrics po, bali magiging dalawa yung rubrics ang PETA ninyo, ay 3. Okay? Isa po for pre-eval, isa po for presentation, isa po for structure. Okay? So, magiging 3 yung pinaka-rubrics.
Ito ay
Required po bang reviewer ngayon pre-written? Yes po, required po si reviewer.
Kaya, ano dapat tandaan sa personal? Kaya,
So again po, si reviewer po is different from your notes. Si notes po, kailangan nakalagay sa Cattleya. Si reviewer po, kailangan ko po ng naka-yellow paper. Handwritten po ang kinakailangan ko. So module 6 and 7 po ang pinaka-coverage, yung pinaka-exam natin. So wala namang ganong computations kasi ang kailangan nyo lang naman gawin is mag-arrow up and mag-arrow down sa electron configurations at i-follow yung rules or mnemonics ng electron configurations. Again po, so review po tayo ha. Pag sinabi pong electron configurations, we have 3 rules to follow. As per the above rules po, kailangan po, i-fill po na natin yung pinaka-lower energy level bago tayo mag-proceed to the next or upper energy level. Now, si Hans rules po, sinasabi po, kailangan po muna mag-up bago mag-down. Corrections po and clarifications po. Sa paglalagay po ng arrow up, kailangan po tignan muna yung principal energy level. So, kung nasa principal energy level 1 ka pa lang, yun muna ang pupunan. Kasi nga, as per above rules, hindi ka pwedeng mag-proceed into higher energy level hanggat hindi mo napupunan yung lower energy level. So, if ever nasa principal energy 1 ka, punan mo muna ng up, tsaka punan mo muna ng down bago ka mag-proceed into next principal energy level. Now, pag sinabi naman pong Pauli's exclusion principle, kung ano yung pinaka-last arrow remaining po, it's either up or down. Pag up daw, we have positive 1/2. And then pag down daw po, we have negative 1/2. So, yun lang naman yung rules ni electron configurations. You have to follow the mnemonics, yung SPDF. So, we have until 7. And then, actually, hindi lang 7 yun. Dapat, dadami pa yun. Hanggang letter N yun eh. Kaso, since yung nasa mnemonics 7 muna, so 7 muna ang kailangan ma-masters. So, yun po. Any questions po, Edison? Okay na po tayo sa access nung ng quiz natin sa Genio. So, nandito po, sinend ko po sa message box kung ano yung password or new password ni quiz. And then, if ever po, tawag dito, hindi makapagsagot until 5 p.m., i-close ko po yung pinaka quiz natin. Papalitan ko po siya ng password. Depende na lang kung pabubuksan ko pa or hindi na. Or ibibigay ko sa inyo yung new password or hindi na. So again po, pakisagutan na po ako kay quiz hanggat may remaining time pa tayo.